Marshall Abubakar, Precious, Zachary, Peter Aka. Are we trying to negotiate? Are we begging for a plea deal, or are we demanding justice? The thing not come clear to me again. We need to clarify this. Are we begging the Attorney General, or the Minister of Justice, or the DSS, are we begging them for a plea deal to just release Justice Crack? Or are we demanding justice? There has been an arraignment, and that is the best thing to happen to Justice Crack in all of this saga. Before that arraignment, before the Nigerian army admitted that they had Justice Crack, sincerely speaking, when I did the first video I did, I was afraid for Justice Crack. Because there's no way to tell. It could have been terrorists or bandits that took him. Now, even if it had been security operatives, they could have wasted him and covered up their tracks, and there would have been no way for anybody to know. That's just the truth. But when the Nigerian army admitted that they had Justice Crack, I was excited. Because that, to me, meant that the worst part was behind us. And then it gave me joy again to also see that, oh, he was arraigned. What does that mean? The fact that the prosecutors, the DSS in this case, did not even bring treason charges or treasonable felony, to me, it's another thing to rejoice about. Now, to release Justice Crack, is this something that we should beg for? Is it? I don't think so. If we are begging for release of Justice Crack, then we are begging for a plea deal. Then we are diverting away from the crux of the matter, the cocoa. Marshall, you know more. You know better. You're not a small lawyer. On the day of his arraignment, you know that Nigerian courts prefer written bail applications. So instead of making an oral bail application, it was not like it was denied. You were told to go and put in a written bail application, which you could have done on day one. And once you have put in your bail, with the plethora, with all the evidences that are there, there's no judge that would deny Justice Crack bail. No judge. Because it's not a capital offense. Cyber stalking, felony, that's all. So, worst case scenario, he's been remanded in DSS custody till May 25. On that May 25, you have an opportunity to put in your bail application again. Right? While the trial begins. So the release of Justice Crack, to me, is not a non-issue. All of the protests that I have seen so far are needed to put pressure on the Nigerian army to own up. And that, to me, is the success of that pressure. Justice Crack will be released. But we must focus on the cocoa, which is the justice part. We cannot get justice without holding the Nigerian army accountable. I respect the Nigerian army. I respect our security agencies. They make a lot of sacrifices for the protection of the country. They do. But when you have some security agents abuse their power and their office, we have to hold them accountable. We need to. So, I would have expected a fundamental rights enforcement action. Sue the hell out of the Nigerian army. After all, the court just awarded 100 million to 2 DSS officials against Sarah for defamation. Now, this is even more serious than defamation. What the Nigerian army did for 3 days was enforced disappearance, which is illegal, very, very egregious. That's what we should pursue. They best justice that Justice Crack can get right now for all the torture, tying him hands behind and tying him to a tree, leaving him in the sun to dry up, and then they say cool him off, they take him into an extremely cold room. All of those torture, the best justice for it is to demand compensation from a fundamental right enforcement suit. Demand compensation. Get a 10 billion naira compensation suit against the Nigerian army. That's what I want to be hearing. I'm not hearing it. The Nigerian army must come out and apologize that what they did was wrong. Even if Justice Crack, I don't know, sometimes I'm beginning to think that this thing is beyond the pictures that Justice Crack posted. If it is, you guys should tell us so that we don't invest our emotions unnecessarily. But if it's about the post that Justice Crack did, if there's nothing else to it, just that post and the frivolous 3 charges that we saw the DSS slam against Justice Crack, no case submission. This is a no case. It's a no-brainer. But what we must not do is we must not leave the Nigerian army and begin to beg for the release of Justice Crack. It's a given. Every Nigerian is entitled to bail. It's not a capital offense. It is not. So please, all this talk about we have begged, they will release him, they have to. Yeah. The bail application will be heard and it will be released. What we should focus on is getting the Nigerian army to apologize and to pay him compensation. That's the only justice. And that is the only thing that will help Nigerians. Because the truth must be said here. Today it is justice. Tomorrow it can be anybody. And if the Nigerian army is not reminded that they cannot use their enormous powers against unarmed, innocent civilians, if they are not reminded, this will escalate. It has become a culture that we are trying to change. So let's focus on the Nigerian army, the enforced disappearance, the torture. There is an anti-torture act, for Christ's sake. They are calling a name, Brigadier General Adegoke, Counterintelligence Command. For you to be a brigadier general, come on. Only 2 more steps. And you are a 4-star general. A 5-star general. A brigadier general ought to know about the Anti-Torture Act in Nigeria. A brigadier general in the Nigerian army, a commander of a counterintelligence command ought to know that it's against the law to carry out an enforced disappearance of a citizen. They ought to know. So if they did it, it means that they wanted to abuse their power deliberately to strike fear into the hearts of Nigerians, citizens. That must be resisted and rejected. That's what we should focus on. And again, another thing you guys need to know. All this pushing and dragging the DSS in the court premises is not necessary. If you don't know, it is Justice Crack you are punishing. They are bringing him out of the court into the vehicles of the DSS. You guys are blocking the vehicle. The DSS officials are dragging him right, dragging him left. Who is suffering it? It is his hands that is carrying the handcuffs. It is poor Justice Crack that is suffering it. So I want to advise, please, if they bring him to court again, don't stop the DSS from carrying him out. Before they now begin to slam obstruction of justice charges against some of you, we need to fight smart. Not be everything be gra-gra. We need to fight smart. The media pressure has worked really, really well. I must congratulate all of you for the wonderful work you've done. But now, we have to ensure that we remain smart and remain on the smart track. That's what I want to just say for now. Let's stop punishing Justice Crack in addition to the punishment that the military or the DSS have punished him. And let's focus. You see, we can even go as far as the ECOWAS court, fundamental rights case, suit, file it against the Nigerian army. Take your judgment. It's not only petition you take to the embassies and United Nations and all that. No. You take the petition, you take the court judgment of the Fundamental Rights Enforcement Act, you add them, you send them to those embassies, you send them to those international organizations. In fact, you take that, use it to file a suit at the International Criminal Court. Based on that, no embassy will have any reason not to put them on visa ban. We'll have to fight smart. We have started smartly. Let's continue smartly. All this resisting or obstructing is just DSS at the court, it's just punishing Justice Crack. And we should not shift the attention from the Nigerian army to begging the Minister of Justice to release Justice Crack. No, we don't have. If they have remanded him in DSS custody, let DSS bear the cost and the wahala of keeping. They cannot be punishing Justice Crack in DSS custody now. And in any case, this is very, very important. Please, I hope you go to court and get a court order. And I'm talking to you now, the lawyer, Marshal Abubakar, for an independent medical examination. All the effects, the hand they tied him to the wall, the effect of the sun and all those things, they will wear off over time. The body has a system called autophagy that helps it to heal. Through the process of autophagy, all of those evidence will wear out. So it will be important, if it has not been done, for it to be done, that you apply for an independent medical examination of Justice Crack. You can't rely on the examination of DSS alone or the Nigerian army. You cannot. All of these are the things that we need to make sure that we hold the Nigerian army accountable, even while we appreciate the sacrifice they are making for us. They can't abuse their power. They are so much better, well-trained than the Nigerian citizen. So much more well-trained than for them to now be using such training to brutalize innocent civilians. It's not acceptable.